Here's Earl Grey, and this is my third video about the best collected comic editions from 2016. This time it's about Western and adventure stories, most of them within a certain historic setting. This will be a shorter one, and since adventure comics and even Western comics are the bread and butter of European comics, we will have a lot of European comics in the upcoming top 5. On 5, it's a draw between the first volume of Ringo by William Vance and the second and concluding volume of Tony Stark. No, not Marvel's Tony Stark, but one hero of the same name whose adventures were first published in serialized form in magazines in the ending 70s, beginning 80s. In this time, the awareness for environmental issues rose. For instance, the German Green Party was founded back then. And Tony Stark fights with like-minded environmentalists and a healthy dose of action for the whales, for the leopards, and the nature in general. Some stories are a bit generic, most of them pretty foreseeable, but all of them are neat time capsules for the spirit of back then. It's drawn by Edouard Aidon and at least partwise written by Jean Van Ham. Ringo is a series in which William Vance's Western comic will be published in its entirety. The German version by Splitter, the French by Lombard. The first volume contains 2 stories. The first one is, to be honest, pretty generic and proves again that Vance isn't that great as a writer. But the second story, written by Jacques Accard, about a friendship between the Yankee Ringo and a soldier from the Confederation during the Battle of Gettysburg, is far more interesting. So this has the potential to become a very interesting series, the more so William Vance's art and the coloring of his wife, Petra, has improved a lot since. Rank 4 is Atu, or Atu, written and drawn by Sam Glanzman, the only US-American creator in this top 5. In 3 chapters he tells us the story of a Stone Age warrior who finds a spaceship in a cave, plus an attractive female spaceship pilot. Together they travel to the Dragonian galaxy, where the pulp fun continues. Because of that, I could have easily put this into my science fiction top 10 as well. At some point, it almost felt like a particular demented, lost Star Trek episode. It's very probably not the most original story, but however, I can't get enough stories with cavemen fighting dinosaurs and well-thought-out alien worlds. On 3, it's El Cid by Antonio Hernández Palacios, who tried to do a biography of Spain's national hero, El Cid, who played a big role in the Reconquista in the 11th century. He planned, apparently, a monumental comic series of at least 20 volumes, but all he ever could make were the first 4 of them, which are collected in this well-made book on about 200 pages. The art is beautiful with trippy colors just made by felt pens or with felt pens, and reminds me a lot of Prince Valiant. Same with the storytelling, which is obviously very well researched, but relies very much on expositional texts. What bugs me quite a bit, though, is that it's all told from the perspective of the nobility and the ruling class. But it's nevertheless a beautiful book with an interesting glimpse into the history of Spain in the Middle Age. On to I have another draw, this time between the complete edition of Dita Lupin and the next volume of Corto Maltese. I think I can't tell you too much new stuff about Corto Maltese, other that it's awesome and essential. So, on to The Adventures of Dita Lupin. This is the German version from 2014, but in 2016, IDW published a similar collection in English. Dita Lupin sounds German, but the writer Georges Centenaire originates from Argentina and the artist Ruben Pelejero from Spain. By the way, Pelejero draws the new Corto Maltese stories that came out in 2016 as well, and he's a fitting choice because his style owes Hugo Pratt quite a lot. Dita Lupin is an interesting character, an anti-hero who just wants to survive. Flotsam, just as opportunistic as I would be, to be honest, if I would be thrown into the same situations. The narrative flushes Dita through a lot of exciting adventures in exotic settings of the Orient and in the Caribbean Sea. The last story is my favorite, a modern version of the passage through the river Styx to Hades land or the dead. So, and now my favorite adventure or Western comic trade / collected edition from 2016 is Bouncer, done by the dream team of writer Alexandru Jodorowsky and François Bouc. The edition from Humanoids collects the first 7 European albums. A bit unfortunate is the shrunken format, somewhere between the original European album size and the American comic book format. But the Western yarn Jodorowsky and Bouc are spinning here is tremendous. There are 3 stories, each one of different length. The first is an hard-boiled saga about 3 brothers in the Wild West. One of them, the one-armed gunslinger called the Bouncer, because he is the bouncer in the saloon who's called appropriately the Inferno. The second story continues where the first left off, but adds more and more crazy inventions, unusual surprises and twists into the story. If you like spaghetti western, you'll feast on that. And in the third story, Yodo goes totally apeshit. Think of a western by Federico Fellini, and you get the impression, approximately. Okay, that's enough for this episode. Next video will be about superhero comics. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.